We're back at the Thursday night tailgate with our Week 10 preview. Hopefully you already saw our Week 9 recap and our history of the AFL champs. What we're going to do now is preview the Week 10 games, and then after our preview you can check out our district standings and our breakdown, and you can see where your team's at right now and what are some possible outcomes based on this week's game. So as we go through our preview here, what we're going to do is take a look at the games. We'll talk about playoff implications, obviously, but as far as really getting down into what needs to happen for certain teams to get in the playoffs, you'll see that in our district playoff breakdown. So for Week 10 preview, we've got a lot of rivalry games.
Yes.
A lot of guys playing their last high school football game ever.
Yeah, this has always been, it's kind of bittersweet because it's a great weekend for football. You know, a lot of rivalry games, but it's also, you know, the end of the year and only a small percentage of teams are going to go on. You know, and we're going to talk about some big rivalries, and you know, it's just, it's kind of one of those where you start getting emotional about the end of the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys said, you know, it's Week 10, and you never think it's going to get here. When you're a freshman, you never think about it, and then before you know it, it's your senior year and it's your last game.
Yep.
So, hey, enjoy it. I don't know what else to say. Like you said, it's tough to talk about. It really is. I mean, everybody that has ever played, I'm sure everyone can remember their last game they ever played.
And you know what's crazy? I'm going to go out of the A9 a little bit here now, but I teach at Palmerton, and they have a 2-win team right now, and they're going against a 1-win Northern Lehigh team. We have a lot of friends in that staff, and they are so excited about this game. Combined 3 wins, but it's that Week 10 rivalry and that last game ever that just, you know, gets people fired up for this weekend.
It does. I mean, the neat thing, you know, you think about it as you go on, you know, if you play basketball, you play pickup. If you play baseball, you might play softball or a pickup baseball game, but, you know, you don't typically put those pads on again, you know, unless for most of these guys. So, you know, hey, enjoy it. Let's take a look at the Week 10 games. We've got Blue Mountain at Schuylkill Haven. Talk about rivalries. We've got a huge rivalry. We've got huge playoff implications. Blue Mountain, they need to win to have a shot at districts. Even with the win, Haven being a single-A school, looks tough for them. Haven, you know, we said nobody wants to be playing them right now. And, you know, this is a game that gives them an opportunity to seal their berth in the district playoffs and, you know, meet their goals of playing on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and I might be wrong with this, but I gotta say, I think that Blue Mountain and Schuylkill Haven, I think Blue Mountain surrounds Schuylkill Haven. So I think Blue Mountain's the donut, and Schuylkill Haven's the hole. You know? No, not the cream, because that would be inside. Like the center. Okay. So this is Haven's way of saying, you know what, that hole in the middle, we are better than the entire donut.
Okay, that's not in the notes here. You're ad-libbing again, but I like that metaphor.
The cheesesteak's kicking in. What a cheesesteak we had.
That was really good.
I want to talk about, this is Blue Mountain. Blue Mountain is now done with their Berks County stuff. They're playing Schuylkill Haven this week, and next year they're entering the A9.
Welcome to the league.
Exactly. And Schuylkill Haven's got to be thinking, we're sending them a message. A small school like Schuylkill Haven is saying, you know what? Big school, you're coming into this league, you think you're going to be successful, and they probably are. A lot of averages say they're going to be on a regular basis. But I'll tell you what, I bet you they want to send them a message. And I'm not going to lie, I was against Blue Mountain coming into the league when I was coaching at Panther Valley. I think it's I don't think it's a fair fit for the A9. I'm going to be rooting for Schuylkill Haven. And I don't know if we're going to be doing that here, but this is, you know, this is a situation where the A9 is going to say, you know what, you're not going to come in here and run around.
You're not going to push us around.
Yeah.
You know?
Schuylkill Haven, this should be a great week. I'm really interested in this.
And it's interesting. I mean, we know for a fact, and there's been people that told us that there's people in Schuylkill Haven that say, why are we playing Blue Mountain? Some people love that rivalry. Some people say, why are we playing it? They're 3A, we're single A. What are we getting out of it? Why are we putting our kids in that position? Well, right now, you know, that's people that aren't playing.
Yep.
These players right now are licking their chops, and you know, it has all the makings of a fantastic game. You know, especially Haven with everything on the line for them this week, and you know, Saturday afternoon. I didn't know that until I checked Saturday afternoon. Did you guys know that?
I didn't know that.
Not until now.
Yeah.
Let's take a ride out.
Saturday
Let's take a
afternoon,
ride out.
according to the district
I'll
level.
be in the woods.
Okay, he's hunting, but
According to the district level website, this is Saturday afternoon at Rotary Field, which I didn't know. I thought that was interesting.
maybe you and I can take a ride out and see if Schuylkill Haven can become the cream in the donut or whatever the heck all that.
I think we might have to do
Okay,
that.
cool,
I
yeah.
think I don't know of any other game at 1 o'clock on Saturday, so hey, what better way to spend a Saturday
Awesome,
afternoon?
awesome.
All right, next game, speaking of rivalries, the Route 209 Trophy on the line. Anthracite Football League champs Jim Thorpe heading to Lehighton, who's coming into the AFL next year. Lehighton playing for a possible district playoff berth. Jim Thorpe the same, both in the 3A bracket. It doesn't get more important than this. You have both teams playing for a shot to get into playoffs in the same bracket in their rivalry game.
I'm sure Mark Rosenberger told the kids Friday night at 9:30, enjoy this win until tomorrow morning because we got work to do. Unfortunately, they win the A9 title, but they can't rest on any kind of laurels. They had to get right back to work
Absolutely.
because they might have won the A9 title Friday night and not be in district playoffs this week. They know this is a must-win situation for them.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this game and it's almost like the playoffs start now.
Yeah.
Because you lose, there's a good chance you're out. So you got to treat this like a playoff game. And you got the whole Route 209 trophy, and you got to love it when you get those trophies involved. And it just adds a little more incentive to the game. But if there was no trophy involved here, it would still be a huge game, and it's going to be an awesome atmosphere. It's going to be a playoff atmosphere a week early.
And when we talk about that 209 trophy, there are a lot of people in both of these communities that consider this their biggest rivalry game. Jim Thorpe people consider Lehighton the biggest one. Lehighton people consider Jim Thorpe one. Heck, we know a guy, I won't say his name here because I don't want to out him, but he says he won't even drive through Jim Thorpe unless he has to. We coached with him last year. He's an old Lehighton guy. Okay? That narrows it down. But yeah, this is a huge rivalry for those guys, and there's a lot of bad blood between these staffs. I shouldn't say between these staffs, between these programs. Before Coach McCarroll came over, I know there was a lot of bad blood between the staffs that existed there, and that still lingers on here. Should make for interesting football.
And just like Blue Mountain Haven, hey, this is like a welcoming party
Yep.
for Lehighton coming in.
Absolutely.
Jim Thorpe wants to say, hey, you know what? Welcome to the league. And they want to say, hey, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, these are two matchups that are going to happen from here on out every single year.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very interesting. And, you look at Lehighton and you look at Blue Mountain, and they're playing probably right now the top two teams in the Anthracite Football League this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two teams that are coming into the league next year perform against this year's top two teams in the league.
Absolutely.
Next, we've got North Schuylkill, 6-3. North Schuylkill, slim district playoff hopes still there, looking very solid for Eastern Conference. They're playing Elko. Elko's 4-5 out of District 3. North Schuylkill changed things up a bit recently, seems to be working for those guys.
Yeah, let's face it. I mean, North Schuylkill right now, they say we got to take care of business, and let's see, where the chips fall after that. Can we get into the district playoffs? Maybe. Outside chance. If not Eastern Conference, and let's extend the season a week. Maybe 2 weeks with the young guys, like we said before.
Yeah, like you said, North Schuylkill has a ton of kids coming back next year. Seniors last game, but hey, 6-3, you end up 7-3, go on Eastern Conference, and you win Eastern Conference there.
That happens, you're 9-3.
That's a 9-win
That's a
season.
heck of a season.
Yep.
With a bunch of young kids. So yeah, there's still a lot to play for there.
And let's face it, they just want to get in and play in the playoffs. Sort of like that one year before they started their run. They got into the playoffs. That playoff season was cut short by a team from Palmerton that year.
Who's their coach?
We don't know. That's insignificant. But the next 3 years they go on a run, and that's what they want to do now. Lay that foundation to maybe go on a run because they got some great young players.
They really do. They really do. Our next game, we got Minersville Panther Valley. That game that you got to think both teams are, looking at traps to play.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them. These two teams go through their gauntlet, and you're playing, week in, week out. Tamaka, Schuylkill Haven, North Schuylkill, and our league champs, Jim Thorpe. And now, these two teams get a shot to play each other. Minersville sitting 1-8, PV 2-7. Minersville getting healthy. PV is a couple guys hitting some milestones. Minersville getting healthy. I might go to Lansford this Friday.
It's going to be an interesting game. Like you said, both of these teams, they have long seasons. You know, 3 wins combined between the two of them. But like you said, Miners was getting healthy. You know, Luke Heffron, you don't want to say it on a 1-win team. He's one of the best players in the league. On a 2-win team, you got Nace and Ferryman. They're 2 of the best kids in the league. So, I mean, you're going to see some real nice players here. You know, team-wise, you know, there's been some struggles, but this could be an entertaining game.
Yeah, this could be interesting. It kind of reminds me of 3 years ago. You were coaching at PV at the time, and both teams came in kind of struggling a little bit, and Minersville ended up winning that game. And they used that game to springboard into an off season, because a lot of times week 10 is huge for your off season. You win week 10, it's easier to get the kids in the weight room. It's easier to tell them that we're going to be better next year. It's easier to have a successful season. And they did that a couple of years ago in a very tight game. It was a great game. I remember watching it. And next thing you know, Minersville went 9-1 the next year, you know, in the regular season. And that's got to be what the coaches are selling right now. You know, and I know Coach Mason, I talked to him a little bit this week, and he said, you know, Heffron is as close to 100% as he's been all year long. He said he was 90 last year. He said they're a much better team with him there. He's a very good football player, and he felt that they played their best offensively, like you guys mentioned, against Tamaqua. And you know, they got to be thinking this is our number 2 win and a springboard into the offseason.
And good for Heffron. You know, you got to feel for the kid going through that his senior year. You know, that he wanted, you know, he was counting on to be their leader, and, you know, obviously he would continue to be, but to not be on the field every week, it had to be frustrating for him. So, you know, we're happy to see him back and almost at 100%. Next game we got another rivalry, Monty area at Shenandoah. Monty area, they'll be getting on the bus, they'll put on their helmets, they'll keep them on until they get in the locker room, as they say, coming into Shenandoah. And Shenandoah has a chance to knock Monty area out of district playoffs and, you know, possibly out of Eastern Conference even, you know, depending on what happens. But we've seen this before.
Yep.
We've seen this before where everything is pointing to, okay, last week of the season, Monty area needs a win, they're going to beat Shenandoah, and it hasn't happened. That happened a couple of years ago. Did it happen twice? It happened at least once.
Yeah, you know, I'm
I
not
couldn't remember if
sure.
it happened back-to-back years, or it just happened.
I think it just
the
happened
one,
once.
the 1 year.
But I could be.
But you know.
Yeah, 'cause people back then talked about Monterey going on and winning Eastern Conference championships, but they forget Shenandoah kept them out of the real dance. You know, districts. Shenandoah went and played Pius the 1 year, got beat, and they were out. Monterey went on to seem like a better season, but Shenandoah beat them in that week 10.
To get into the districts.
But let's face it, I mean, it's the NCAAs versus the NITs. Shenandoah got in there, and Shenandoah would love nothing more than to keep Monterey out of the districts yet again.
Right.
Yeah. It seems like Angelo Skornik's been dealing with some health issues, and he's been missing some time. So we wish you the best. Not sure if we're going to see you this week. For what we hear, no.
Yeah.
But if that's true, we wish you nothing but the best. Hopefully you get healthy soon.
Hey, if I could clarify something from last week, you know, a good friend of ours, Mark Levine, said my facts were not the greatest. And I know we clarified a little bit, but when I mentioned about Monterey looking for that elusive 7th win that they haven't had since the Whitehall brothers played, that was just regular season wins. Because Monterey obviously had gone on an Eastern Conference and won 7 and 8, you know, when they won their championships. But any of you guys want to handle that last note there? Monterey and Shenandoah are playing for a trophy this week.
Big trophy. Big trophy.
I did a little extra research.
The motto.
Smash that switch.
Trophy.
That must be the Shenandoah side.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it.
Samanowicz.
And we apologize because obviously we know it's very big
Right.
for both towns and both communities. So, you know, best of luck to both teams.
I think that's
awesome.
That might be Krzyzewski. It might be.
Okay, next. Marion at Tamaqua.
Is this our game of the week?
It's got to be a good week.
Okay.
It's got to be a game of the week.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was thinking Jim Thorpe played Heighton, but we can't keep making Jim Thorpe the thing because that's an unfair advantage. They win every time we make them the
If
game.
they make playoffs, Jim starts to play the week.
Jim Thorpe, yeah, you'll be our game of the week every week throughout playoffs, we promise. But Marion Tamaqua, they're both games of the week. But Marion Tamaqua is a very interesting matchup. You know, Marion started off 0-3, went on a run. Now they're sitting here at 5-4. Tamaqua is 6-3, overcoming some injuries. They have a chance to get to 7-3. both these teams, you feel like need a win, to validate their season? Would that be fair to say?
I think Marion needs a win to validate their season this week. And when I say that, a little trepidly, but because they did beat North Schuylkill. But they beat North Schuylkill with a 4-turnover second half by North Schuylkill. And then after that, they beat Panther Valley, Shenandoah, Minersville as the team they should have beat, and Conwell League, and then only had one win all year long. So Marion, I think, needs this. No matter how the playoff thing shakes out, they need this to validate their season, I think.
Yeah, you look at it, both teams lost to Jim Thorpe. Both teams lost to Monoy. Tamaqua beat up on Haven.
Yep.
Marion got beat up by Haven. And then you got North Schuylkill edged out Tamaqua, but Marion edged out North Schuylkill. So it should be a very balanced game. And hey, you got any playoff hopes, both of these teams, you got to win. If you don't win, there's a very good chance that you're not playing next week and you're handing in the equipment on Monday.
Yep.
So, we said it earlier, Tamaqua, it's like one of those teams,
No wonder what could have been.
what if?
What if?
What if? You look at Marion, they had their injuries too. Quarterback went down and then Damien went down and, that's the way it is.
But let's face it, for Marion, maybe we come from a time when we expect a Marion program to be churning out 7, 8, 9 wins. A 5-5 season shouldn't cut it up there. And injuries or not, everybody had injury. Every single team in the league had injuries this year. 5-5, and I think there'll be some people disappointed in Coke Country.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And then let's look at the other side. Let's look at Tamaqua. Boy, if they get a win, they're 7-3.
Yep.
They're in Eastern Conference, and they have a chance to. Tamaqua right now, they're looking at a chance to end their season 9-3.
Yep.
Win a championship. So this is a game that, and we haven't even gotten to the rivalry aspect of it. I mean, this is as big as it gets. Kids that grew up playing together, playing on the same little league teams, playing on the same biddy teams, and all that. And now this is bragging rights for the rest of their lives with this football game.
Yep.
So this is going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Marion, slim district hopes right now, but very solid EC. And Tamaqua kind of similar.
Yeah.
Kind of similar right now. So right now, boy, I mean, I think this game is going to go a long way to determining how successful someone's season was.
Oh yeah, yep. You're gonna leave that game saying, you know what, we did okay, and now we got a playoff shot, or this was a disappointing season, whoever the loser was.
Yeah, Marion wins this game. They're 6-4, and they beat a very good North Schuylkill and a very good Tamaqua team, and then they get into the playoffs and win a game or two there, and maybe get an Eastern Conference championship, something like that. That's a successful year. Tamaqua, on the other hand, they get 7-3, getting an Eastern Conference and win a game or two, maybe get a title, or 9-3. So I mean, I'm looking at it. If they get an Eastern Conference, they might see North Schuylkill again, and that would be an awesome
It really would.
matchup.
Yes, absolutely.
And we'll probably cover it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe we'll be on top of that minivan in Fountain Springs.
All right, we got one quick question. We got a question this week talking about our district standings right now, and the question was about some of the teams in there and their records. For example, if a losing team knocks out a team with a better record, what do we think of that? So, for example, you're looking at Pottsville right now. They're sitting at 4-6, and they're ahead of Jim Thorpe.
4-5.
I'm sorry, 4-5. Thank you. And Jim Thorpe is 7-2. Pottsville's sitting ahead of them in the standings. So if they both win, if Pottsville would edge them out, what's the answer? Is that good? Is it bad? Does it matter? It's a tough call.
I mean, you look at it this way: if they both win, it's 5-5 and 8-2. And it would be an absolute shame if Jim Thorpe wouldn't get in over Pottsville. Now, I'm sure Pottsville's thinking, well, we play a tougher competition. Okay, well, you're going to deal with the same problem with Lehighton and Blue Mountain coming in.
Right.
Because you might have Lehighton and Blue Mountain next year that are 8-2, but AAA, you're going to have Allentown Central, Becca, those teams there who are playing LVC teams, hey, they might be 4-6, and they might have more points than you. I just don't know what to do with this new system. It's it's very confusing.
You know, you mentioned the 4 and 6 thing. That's what I'm more worried about. I think you can maybe make an argument about a 5 and 5 Pottsville getting in because of playing bigger schools over, Jim Thorpe. But if they both lose, you're talking about a 4 and 6 Pottsville team that's going to have more points than a 7 and 3 Jim Thorpe team, and I think that's crap. I think it's terrible. I think even as a head coach, you say, you know what, guys, we don't deserve a playoff spot. And I used to say this with the Eastern Conference, and they did change this. I think it's terrible if a losing team makes the playoffs over a winning team. I don't care who you're playing. You lost more games than you won that season, and you shouldn't get in a team that won 70% of their games in a very competitive league. I mean, let's face it, even though the Anthracite League's filled with small schools, they're still competitive schools.
Absolutely.
Schuylkill Haven can play against anybody.
Absolutely. And it's a shame. It's a shame that the league that is such a great league is really starting to hurt AAA schools in it.
Yeah.
Being in the Anthracite Football League is hurting these schools that are AAA. Like a Jim Thorpe that is always on the cusp of where they're going to be in football, whether it be AA or AAA, and that's a shame because it's a great league, and it's very competitive, and it gives you a bunch of great games every Friday night. So
you know what the problem is though? The only way to help those AAA teams is if we brought in 2 more AAA teams, and now that's going to hurt the Minersvilles, the Monterey areas,
It is.
the Shenandoahs, the Schuylkill Havens, the Panther Valleys. It's going to hurt them.
It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. You got Blue Mountain this year, they have, it's like 40 kids that are either juniors or seniors. Close to it, like 36 I was looking at. Panther Valley has like 26 kids this year.
Yeah.
You know,
9 through 12.
9 through 12.
Yeah.
You know, and then you got Minersville and Monmouth, they probably have
Shenandoah's.
35 total. Shenandoah's probably got
Same
30.
boat.
It's a numbers game, you know, it is what it is.
So I hope we answered your question.
Yeah. Or maybe start a new discussion. Maybe start a new discussion.
Well, that's it for the Week 10 preview. We will be back next week. We're going to come back and we're going to take a look at the upcoming playoffs. We're going to recap the Week 10 games and also the entire season. Thanks again for checking us out. Once again, we are at Skipper Dippers off Route 309 in hometown. Skipper Dippers, fantastic people up here, fantastic food, great cheesesteaks, great ice cream. They're going to be open year-round right now, 9 to 7. Come up here for breakfast, get an egg sandwich, get a cheesesteak for lunch, bring the kids up for ice cream tonight. You can't go wrong up here. Everything's fantastic. So once again, thanks Skipper Dippers and Joe Pilla for having us. Collegiate Football out. Okay, welcome back. We're back here at headquarters. What we're going to do is take a few minutes here and take a look at the district playoff standings and talk about some possible scenarios for the last week of the regular season and the upcoming district playoffs. So what we're going to do is zoom in. You're going to be able to see what the standings look like, and we're going to talk a little bit about each classification and where these Anthracite Football League teams stand. So
We're going to try our best because it's a tough formula to figure out.
yeah, it is. You're a minor in math, though, right?
Yes, I do have one. I have a
Okay.
degree in math, yes.
And Coach Davis is a math teacher as well. I'm a little out of the loop here, being science, but I have confidence in you guys that you'll be able to make some good formulations here based on the district's formula. So, looking here at Single A, we got 2 teams that are in. Williams Valley, Tri-Valley are in. Coaches, what do you make of the rest of this bracket?
Schuylkill Haven is fortunate enough to be playing a rival.
Don't even look.
Oh, okay. Who just so happens to be a AAA team, and so if they win and they're in. You know, a AAA team with 4 wins. I think if they win and they're in. Gets a little hairy though after that.
Yeah, like you said, I think Schuylkill Haven, I think they're in regardless, but if you're in Schuylkill Haven's position, you don't want to leave it to we thought we were going to make it. Because you look at that, and then, you know, it's extremely tight. Pius, they got another cupcake, like Uncle Stosh would say. Monoi's got Shenandoah, who's a single A school with 1 win, so they're not going to get much out of them. Marion's the other one that we were talking about before.
Marion, it's interesting here because if they would beat Tamaqua, obviously Tamaqua, 2A school, Tamaqua currently has 6 wins, so they will gain some points. Would it be enough for them to catch one of these 3 or 4 teams, Schuylkill Haven or Pius? It would be tough. Pius is playing a AAA school. They're playing Columbia Montorville Tech AAA school. Haven's playing a AAA school, and even with a loss, Haven currently sitting in 3rd. So it's going to be tough for Monty to sneak in there regardless. Playing a single A school, that's going to be tough for them. Marion, do they have a shot?
Yeah, Marion's the big question mark here. You know, with a quality win over Tamaqua, if they get it, they need to take care of business. But would that, you know, push them ahead of those other teams? Hey, and I love the second straight week of an Uncle Stosh reference. That's awesome.
God love Uncle Stanley. You know?
Uncle Stanley's all over this. One of our biggest fans from what we hear.
Oh, he loves it.
Okay, so single A bracket, that kind of wraps up the single A bracket. What we're going to do now is take a look at the double A District 11 bracket and see what that looks like.
We told you from the beginning we are low budget.
Low budget, but
Here
hey,
it comes.
we got a projector.
Good, right there.
We're scrolling. There we go. So hopefully you can see that. Looking at the District 11 AA bracket, we got Pine Grove and Catasauqua there in. Both teams undefeated. Both teams 9-0. They've been flip-flopping back and forth for that top seed the last few weeks, depending on the opponent. So we know the top two are sealed up. Palisades at number 3, looking very good. They play a strong Saucon team that has 6 wins. This Palisades, it looks good for them, win or lose at this point. Would you guys agree with that?
Palisades, yeah, they got Saucon this week, and just the fact that they are a AAA school with 6 wins, I think that does enough for them that they could stay here. Because, I mean, they do have some margin of error. I mean, this is the one they're worried about. If anyone's going to catch from Northwestern, but Northwestern plays Caddy. So then they end up looking from here. They're looking at North Schuylkill. You know, North Schuylkill's playing Elko. I don't think there's enough there for North Schuylkill to jump into the mix, you know, to really have Palisades worry about them.
I'll tell you what, speaking of Palisades, Coach Ronalds has done, I know we don't cover them, but Coach Ronalds has done a great job down there. A couple of years ago they had 1 or 2 wins, and he stepped in now, they're, you know, and they're looking at a 3 seed in a very competitive AA tournament. But yeah, I think they're okay, and you know, we're going to assume that Northwestern loses to Caddy. Nobody's even come close to them all year long. So now it's going to be a 3-way scramble, I think, or maybe even just a 2-way scramble for that 4th spot. Penn Argyl plays Bangor. Bangor's a AAA team, but only with 3 wins, so we don't know how that's going to factor into the equations. North Schuylkill plays Elko, a 4-win team, and you know, it's going to come down to the math nerds in the cubicles figuring this out Friday night after all the victories are in.
Yeah, I would think if you're North Schuylkill, I think the only shot they got right now, they would need Northwestern to lose to Caddy. They would need Penn Argyl to lose to Bangor. They would need Palisades to lose to Saucon, which most likely still keeps Palisades in. But could that bump a 7-3 North Schuylkill above a 6-4 Penn Argyl and a 6-4 Northwestern? So if you're North Schuylkill, I think that's your hope right now. Tamaqua, they're playing a single A school. You know, Tamaqua, if they finish 7-3, obviously great season, especially coming off the year they had last year. You know, 2 back-to-back great years. And Tamaqua would have a real solid shot to do something in the Eastern Conference and win the championship. All right, looking at AAA bracket right now. This is our last bracket with some of the AFL squads involved. We got Southern Lehigh and Bethlehem Catholic. They both have their spot wrapped up. Boy, this one gets interesting, guys.
Indeed,
we have
indeed.
Lehighton, Jim Thorpe. The battle for the 209 trophy. Right there. Now, Lehighton, they win, they're in. We're good on that, right?
They're
I think
absolutely in.
I think whoever wins that game is in.
Whoever wins.
I think the winner of that game is in.
So
Either it's a 3 or 4.
So what we need to look at, if Jim Thorpe can beat Lehighton, and let's say Pottsville beats Twin Valley, now, how do these spots shake out? That's what's going to be interesting. And Saucon Valley, don't forget, they're playing Palisades. Palisades only be in 2A, but Palisades is 7 wins. I think from this point on, we could say these guys are out. Blue Mountain, that was a tough loss this week. That would have kept them alive.
Yeah, they beat
in the
Fleetwood.
district
We might be talking about them, but we're not.
Right, at this point, you can't see them passing those guys. So, Lehighton, Jim Thorpe looks like the winner of that game's in. Pottsville, if they beat Twin Valley, you would think that they would knock the loser out, possibly. But although Lehighton, it looks like they could be in, win or lose. I don't know. What do you guys think?
They have that. I mean, you look at the gap that they have right now, and I really think Lehighton's got a shot, even if they would lose, because they're losing to a 7-win AAA squad. So I think even if they do lose, they might still make it in here. Pottsville, that's the one that's interesting to me because they're playing a team with 0 wins. And they're not going to get any points from that, even though Twin Valley, they're a AAA school. Hey, I mean, we saw it before when Lehighton went and they beat Allen. Allen was a quad A school. Lehighton dropped from 3rd to 5th that week.
Yeah, Pottsville might barely break the .60 thing there whenever it's all said and done, even with a win.
So, if Pottsville wins, can we assume that Jim Thorpe and Saucon Valley with a loss would be out?
With a loss, yes. I think Jim Thorpe with a loss and a Pottsville win is out.
Okay.
The winner,
Unfortunately, I think it's terrible, but unfortunately, I think that's the case.
I think the winner of Lehighton Jim Thorpe, that's a definite they're in.
Yep.
That's a definite. Pottsville, even if they win, like I said, if Jim Thorpe beats Lehighton, I would not be shocked if it ends up Lehighton's the 3, Jim Thorpe's the 4. Because I think if Jim Thorpe beats Lehighton, I think they might jump and bump Pottsville out.
Yes, and that would make sense. If you look at those numbers, you look at those gaps, Lehighton, with the points that they have right now, would have the identical record of Pottsville if Pottsville wins and Lehighton loses. And you got to assume that Lehighton is still going to stay ahead of them and that Jim Thorpe would jump Pottsville with a win. So those are the 3 teams that we're looking at. Saucon Valley, if they go 7-3, that would put them in the mix, beating an undefeated Caddy team.
Palisades.
Palisades.
Or I'm sorry,
7-win Palisades.
I'm sorry, beating Palisades 7-2.
Yep.
Beating Palisades is 7-2. That would make things very interesting. I don't know how those points would shake out, but I think you're looking at the Lehighton, Pottsville, Jim Thorpe having the best shot at those last 2, and then possibly Saucon Valley getting into the mix. You guys agree with that?
Yep. I don't know about you guys, but I miss the old system. You used to be able to figure it out, no problem. Now there's a lot of guesswork to be going on here.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the website, how many pages was that?
It was 6 pages, and it was written in Chinese for me. And I can go and get Rosetta Stone and learn how to read Chinese, but it's not. I think Rosetta Stone helps you speak a language, right?
Yeah.
Well, whatever. You got my idea. But very confusing.
Yeah.
They talk about 59% is based on your team win percentage, and 41% is based off of your opponent's loss percentage. I don't understand it.
So here's in closing with these district standings, what we'd like, any of you guys out there, if there's something you see and you have an opinion, send it out. Tweet, Facebook, let us know what you think. If there's something that maybe that we don't as far as the points go, hey, we'd love to hear it. We're all looking at this, but there's a lot of gray area at this point, at least it seems, with how exactly these points are going to shake out. So we'd love to hear from you if you guys have any thoughts on these standings.